And he says if we blur the femininity, masculinity, it's going to be harder to receive the gift of another person. He said it's not a healthy attitude which seeks to cancel out sexual difference because it no longer knows how to confront it. And by confront, he doesn't mean like aggressively confront. He just means we're confronted with somebody who's different from me, and that makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what to do with that. And the answer is not to erase sexual differences. So did God make humans male and female so that we could reproduce the species? No! Theology of the body, cardiac arrest. Please don't ever let me hear you say that in my presence. We were made male and female so we can reproduce the species. That's what animals do. It's lovely, but that's what we have other little images of God. That's what we do. So please don't ever let me hear you say that in my presence. Okay. Everything we do as humans. Okay, we share a lot of bodily functions with animals, right? But the way we do it, the way they do it, why we do it is completely different. Everything we do as humans. Okay, I need somebody. Are you husband and wife? Okay. Don't deny it. Okay. She put her last name, he didn't put his last name.
I'm still debating.
Still debating. What's your name?
Dusty.
Dusty. Okay. Dusty, can you please stand up and come up to the front of the room? We're going to give Eric a break.
Awesome.
Okay. So what if aliens came to Earth and they said, "Show me a human"? And Dusty came up and said, "I'm a human. I'm fully made in the image of God. Everything you need to know about the human race right here." Is that true?
No.
No. But is he fully in the image of God by himself?
Yes.
Yes, he is. He is. But what's missing?
Woman.
Michelle says, "Excuse me." Says, if you, little green person, if you want to know about the human race, if you want to get a more complete image of God, you need to look at both of us. Because both of us are made in the image of God, but in a different way. We're each expressing a different reality about God. So men and women are completely in the image of God by themselves. When I said they were lacking, I just meant they're lacking in certain gifts that the other has and they don't have. But we are completely made in the image of God by ourselves, but we are more in the image of God together. Hold hands. Okay, thank you. You may be seated. So what can persons do that only persons can do and animals can't? We have 3 abilities. We are like a little trinity within ourselves. We can do 3 things that make us persons. What are they? Love. Reason.
Hope.
What? Oh, that's beautiful. Did you say hope? That's beautiful. It's not what I was looking for, but that's beautiful. I'm going to remember that. Yes. Love, reason, and free will. Good. You guys are good. Okay. So, people, I usually have to drag stuff out of people. Okay, yes. So we are like a little trinity within ourselves, and the only reason we have the ability to reason and choose is for the sake of, the greatest of these is love. Yes. So we have to exercise all 3. And emotions come in where love comes in and the heart comes in. So another way to think about it is we have a mind, a will, and a heart that can reason, choose, and love. So a lot of times people are all like hung up on freedom, and they're like, "I'm free, I have to be free, I have to stay free, I have to be free." Great, you're free. Now what are you going to do with your freedom? Because freedom is not the end, it's the means to the end, and the end is love. So everyone wants to know what the meaning of life is. John Paul II tells us. Would you like to read it for us, Riley?
Man cannot live without love. He remains a being that is incomprehensible to himself. His life is senseless if love is not revealed to him. If he does not encounter love if he does not experience it and make it his own if he does not participate immediately in it.
Thank you. Okay, so that's the meaning of life. It's love. All right. So, animals cannot do these three things. They can think. They have cognitive processes. As we say in Canada, processes. They can choose according to instinct, but it's not a free choice. And they can't love. They don't actually love. You know, our dog shows us affection because they have emotional lives as well. But it's not love, because you have to have the ability for free will and reason to really be able to love. But do we have to put animals down to make ourselves feel higher? No, because God made them awesome. They are so awesome. He just made us more awesome. That's all. Jesus talked a lot about animals. And he showed us that we are more important than animals. So we're not, again, all the same. Humans, animals, it doesn't matter. You know, no, we're more important than animals. That doesn't make them invaluable or not special. And look how much care Jesus talks about God has for them. And I have a whole section on animals that we're going to skip because we don't have time. But God really loves animals, and we have to love them too and take care of them. Pope Benedict was like the biggest cat guy. He had 2 pet cats, and he had to give up when he became Pope. And all the stray cats of Rome used to follow him when he was Cardinal Ratzinger. They would follow him to Mass, the famous stray cats of Rome, because they knew they'd get fed after Mass. Okay. So, is God a person? Talking about persons. Is God a person? Yes or no? God in 3 persons, blessed Trinity. Yes, he is. We're only persons because God is a person, and we are made in God's image. Jesus revealed to us that God is not alone. God is a community of 3 persons, and so are we as male and female. But he's 3 and we're 2. It's okay. It's not a numbers game. It's more about that community of love and life of persons. So, Dusty and Michelle, can you come up again? So, men and women are in the image of God as individuals. They are more in the image of God together. You can hold hands again. And men and women are most in the image of God when they're married. You can kiss or hug. You may kiss them at home. See how beautiful that is? That's how we're like the Trinity. You can be seated. Thank you. Here's another way, too. If you've ever heard that the Holy Spirit, guys are making confirmation, right? You learned a lot about the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the love that exists between the Father and the Son. And that's what happens when husband and wife, they have a child. Their love is so real that you may have to give it a name in 9 months. Becomes another person. All right. Again, it's not an exact analogy here, but it's very good. All right. Jump around here. Anyone else persons besides God and human beings in the universe? Anyone else? Or just human beings and God? Anyone else that can reason, choose, and love? Angels! Yes! And devils. Except they have chosen not to love. They have used their reason and their free will to not love. But they used to be angels, right? And this is why it's good to call ourselves body persons. Because angels don't have bodies. When they appear to us, it's just an apparition of a body. They are pure spirits. They don't have souls. They're not souls, because souls go with bodies. They are pure spirits. Okay. So our approach to persons must be hands-off. Humans are sacred. Human beings are sacred. They cannot be used. They cannot be manipulated, manufactured. John Paul II, he actually wrote God in its Spes, which was one of the Vatican II documents. Human beings are the only creatures on earth that God willed for their own sake. So we're not means to an end. We can't be used by ourselves or other people. So we love persons and use things. We don't use persons and love things. Persons are they who must not be messed with. So what is the opposite of love? Not hate. Because if they hate you, you matter. At least you matter, right?
Indifference.
Indifference, we're getting close. I think I heard use, yes. Is to use a person like a thing. You take away their personhood. You treat them like a thing. That is the opposite of love. So we can't use persons. What do we call it when we use somebody sexually? I heard someone say it. Trafficking is one huge way, yes. Abuse. It also begins with L. Lust. Lust is using someone sexually. What if somebody wants to be used sexually? What if we want to use our own bodies, or we're paying somebody for it, or there's a mutual agreement to use each other's bodies, like hooking up? Then it's okay, right? Because I'm exercising my free will, right? And we're all in agreement, nobody's getting hurt, right? So lust is okay sometimes, right? No, it's never okay. Never ever okay. Why not?
There's no love.
There's no love. And we must always love human beings. Always. Even our enemies, right? Jesus said. Because you can't do that to the image of God. You can't do that. You can't take away people's human dignity. It's against their dignity. So never use human beings. There's lots of different ways to use human beings. Okay. And even though we're freely choosing to do it, criminals freely choose to do crimes, right? Doesn't make it right. Okay. I'm not hurting anyone. You sure about that? You're someone. If you're hurting yourself, you're hurting someone. Right? And, you know, there are spiritual laws, too. There's physical laws and spiritual laws. So, you do X, Y is going to result. We get to choose our actions, but not the consequences of our actions. We are always free. We can always choose our actions, but we don't get to choose the consequences of our actions. There's automatic consequences. So, but it might not show up right away. We're hurting our souls and we don't know it. It doesn't show up right away. We're hurting our bodies. We don't know it. It doesn't show up right away. Sin is simply that which hurts us. Okay? Does sin hurt God? Can we hurt God? No. Does God get mad when we sin? No, he gets sad because we're hurting ourselves. So whatever God told us is a sin is simply something that's going to hurt us. End of story. What do you say to somebody who says, it's my body? Someone says, it's my body, I can do what I want. Well, same thing applies. Yeah, you can do what you want, but you can't choose your consequences. And certain things are not good to do anyway. But what would you say to them? It's my body. Based on our survey earlier, I would say, no, sorry, it's not your body, it's you. It's you. You don't have a body. It's you. Okay. So there's a saying, God always forgives. Human beings sometimes forgive. Nature never forgives. There was an article that just came out. STIs, STDs, sexually transmitted diseases or infections, are at an all-time high in the USA. All-time high. These are like really serious things. I don't know what you've learned about them, but why do we get STDs? Because people don't shower enough? People just aren't clean. If people would just be cleaner, we wouldn't get these STIs, right? Why? How do we get STDs and STIs? besides sex, having sex, obviously. Multiple sexual partners. Mother Nature never intended for us to have multiple sexual partners. Simple. So we can see that, right? These STIs now, especially chlamydia, gonorrhea, and I forget what the third one is. Chlamydia has no symptoms. And when you go to get pregnant, ladies, when you get married, you will be infertile. It just makes you infertile. You won't even have a symptom. Unless you get tested, they can tell you have it. Gonorrhea, you're going to have all kinds of skin problems. There's things like genital warts, exactly like what it sounds. Well, I'll just take a pill for that. No. Some of this stuff, they're getting antibiotic resistant. There are strains now, they can't help you at all. They can't even treat it or manage it anymore. Syphilis. Henry VIII died of syphilis. You go nuts first, okay? I'm not trying to scare you. I don't believe in scare tactics. They don't usually work real well, but it's just like information that you need to know. Do you really want to do this? And don't think there's a pill I can take. There's no longer pills that are battling these things anymore, okay? My friend teaches university, and a student came up to her, 18 years old, sobbing. She was just diagnosed with an STD. Most new cases of STDs are young people between the age of like 15 and 24. And these don't go away. You're going to have these for the rest of your life, and they have these really serious like inflammation problems. You're going to mess with your health, not just your sexual health, but your other health. Nerve damage, heart damage, brain damage, especially for women. It's worse for women, not just because of the infertility, but our sexuality is deeply internal in our bodies, right? It affects a lot of other organs in there too. So, we need to stop and think. There's Mother Nature's like screaming at us, you're not supposed to have multiple sexual partners. So my friend, who teaches university, gal comes up to her, 18 years old, crying, just diagnosed with a serious sexually transmitted disease. She goes, I've only been with 9 guys. That's 9 guys too many. Okay? Yeah, anyway. And so this article, guess what their solution is? We need more screening and testing and treatment. Even though they're telling us the treatments aren't working anymore. And I'm like, how about behavior? Imagine. Change our behavior. It's going to work. Uganda, they had the most successful stoppage of new cases of AIDS in Uganda several years ago because they did a campaign. They said, save yourself till marriage and then faithful to one partner. 50% drop in AIDS cases, new AIDS cases. And then Planned Parenthood came in and destroyed everything. Here's condoms. Go have sex whatever you want with whoever you want. AIDS, right back up again. I can tell you horror stories. And you might not be thinking about that right now, like, oh, maybe I want kids someday, I don't know. No, it's just no, it's health. You want to be healthy? Be healthy. Be healthy. Okay. So, we're going to end on this. This is John Paul II's personalistic norm. Okay, so this is like our gauge. This is what we apply to others. The human person is a good towards which the only proper attitude is love. The personalistic norm means, is it a person? You gotta love them. You gotta treat them with love, and that means starting with ourselves, treating ourselves with love, treating ourselves well. Because a lot of times it's money, right? Money is the bottom line. How can we make the most money and work people to death or whatever and pay them the least amount of money? No, it has to be the person. Pope Francis said, always start with the person, see the person first, consider the person first. What is truly good for the human person. Okay, so we're going to stop for lunch. Thank you, and we'll see you at what time?